The rivalry continues this Saturday, 3:30 p.m. in Tallahassee. Can the Miami Hurricanes pull off the upset against the Florida State Seminoles?
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday. We made it. I'm Alex Donno, your host. I'm a University of Miami alumnus, longtime South Florida sports radio vet, and contributor to allhurricanes.com. Thank you so much to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen today. We are available free wherever you get your podcasts, and we are available free on YouTube. Today's episode is brought to you by Jace Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jace case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics to treat 50-plus infections. Get yours today at jasemedical.com. That's J-A-S-E medical.com. Well, I knew that to give you guys a preview for Miami at Florida State, I needed to bring on somebody who's beaten Florida State before, right? I needed to beat somebody who understands the rivalry. This man helped Miami back in 2017 break what I refer to as the 7-year itch. Miami hadn't beat Florida State in 7 years. Malik Rosier, who joins us now, former Canes QB1, helped Miami stop that cold streak, and I will never forget him for it. I will love that moment forever, Malik. How are you, sir?
Great. I'm actually excited. I'm doing my last bit of packing, but I'm heading up to Tallahassee for the game. I got family up there, so I'm super excited to be there to see what the Canes can do.
Yeah, and you were telling me, like, you and your family, you're going to be sitting in a section where it's like not like a Miami-friendly section. You're going to be surrounded by garnet and gold. But if they talk any crap to you, you could just tell them who you are, and they'll pipe down.
Yeah, of course. But I'll say I've actually been to a game where I've seen some Miami fans get swallowed by some FSU fans in the middle of it talking too much crap. So obviously, when rivalries go, people have their emotions. So I won't talk too much, but I'm definitely going to have a thing or two to say, especially if we score early.
Yeah, and I've been watching you, and of course, Malik and I, we do a lot of shows together. He co-hosts the radio post-game shows with me on 560 WQAM, which is the flagship station for the Miami Hurricanes. But I've also been watching you on X and AKA Twitter throughout the week. And you seem pretty confident. I don't know if you're just like trying to talk yourself into Miami winning this weekend, but if you could describe for me, Malik Rosier, if the Hurricanes, who are 13.5-point underdogs at the Florida State Seminoles, FSU, perfect so far, 9-0, Miami coming off a loss and 6-3. What has to happen on that field this Saturday for Miami to win?
Yeah, so offensively, I think one is scoring fast. You got to put up at least, kind of what I'm saying, somewhere between 14 to 20 points in the first half because, if you watch Florida State, they're a second half team. So jumping on them early, creating momentum, creating just, confidence that, hey, guys, we can score. We can do this frequently. So I think that's going to be really big on the offense. I think secondly, being creative. Florida State does have a good defense. They do create some challenges, especially with throwing the ball over the middle. So creating ways to get guys open. Florida State's a big man team. So rub routes, mesh routes, different things like that to make easy throws for whoever the quarterback is. Defensively, to me, I think it's going to be one is Keon Coleman starting and kind of where is he? And then secondly, to me, I think that, if I'm Florida State, I'm going to kind of have that mentality that UNC had. We're still going to run the ball. We're going to find out, last year we saw a ton of counters. So what play of the week are they going to run versus us? I think offensively, they're definitely going to try to get Trey Benson run. I think he's kind of their dark horse where, if you get the run game going and you get all the weapons they have at receiver, they're very, very hard to stop. So trying to make them one-dimensional, trying to shut down the run game, I think is going to be very important for our defense. And then lastly, on the defensive side is not only getting to Jordan Travis, but getting him down. He is elusive. He is athletic. So just because you get back there doesn't mean you're going to be able to tackle him. So I think that's going to be another element. The times we do get back there, sacking him, getting him to the ground because you don't want him to escape. And then now he can either run it because he does have a lot of legs, which he hasn't shown much, or he can throw it down the field, which he's shown he's done a great job of being able to scramble and make plays.
Yeah, you make a great point because Florida State's offensive line, they're good, not great. But Travis, he's only been sacked 12 times, and a lot of that is him. Like a lot of that is his escapability and his ability to extend plays. And that's another superpower to have, to help you give a guy like Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, an extra 2 or 3 seconds to get open. That goes a really, really long way. So listen, Malik, Miami's defense has not been the reason why they've lost 3 games. I mean, maybe they got burned a little bit in the second half in the North Carolina game, but your defense has played good enough for you to be probably at least 8-1 on the year so far. Do you think Lance Guidry is going to have a good plan and a good blueprint to try and slow down Florida State?
Yeah, I think he will. I think the biggest thing he's going to preach, to his defensive guys is consistency. Whether it's here, whether it's in the NFL, whether it's in life in general, the guys that are successful, guys that can consistently do their job, not only do their job, but do their job correctly. And so I think that's what he's going to keep preaching is, hey, keep playing condominium football. Keep like we still have goals. There's still, records that we can still finish 8-4, obviously, or even 9-3 if we wanted. So that's kind of where it's like, hey, guys, keep carrying the team, keep doing our job. And obviously at some point the offense will click. And I think that's why you play football is because there's 2 sides. It's 11 people. You can't rely on the offense or just the defense. You kind of need both sides. So I am very proud of our defense. I think that, in a lot of areas they've improved. And now for a rivalry game, it's time for the offense to show up.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And we're going to talk about the offense on the other side because, again, we have the luxury of talking with a former Hurricanes QB1, Malik Rosier. Rosier to Langham in 2017 in Tallahassee is something that I will never forget. And I also want to pick Malik's brain on, going up there and having to go against that hostile crowd because that's what Miami's going to be dealing with this week. But how Malik would handle the quarterback situation because it's Friday and we don't know for sure who's starting. Cristobal's keeping that close to the vest. Is it going to be TVD? Is it going to be Emory Williams? Could it even be Jacurri Brown? Or could Jacurri get playing time even if he doesn't start? We have so much to talk about. That means we're only getting started on this Friday Miami versus Florida State preview of Locked On Canes. Passion, drive, and patience. Guys, these are the things that makes eBay Motors. Hold on, I was trying to get and I really screwed up that technical stuff. I'm like, wait, how am I making myself full screen? Here we are, full screen. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen today. For the everydayers, if you want to take that everydayer experience to the next level, we're going to be busy on there this weekend. Join Locked On Canes Insiders, our exclusive text messaging service. I include the link in the show description below. Click that link, try it free for 14 days. You get texts directly from my phone to yours with breaking news, recruiting scoops, show previews, all sorts of opinions on there. You can ask me questions one-on-one. Click the link below. Try it free for 14 days. If you like it, you can opt in, and it's $4.99 a month. We give you a lot of added value on there. Former Miami Hurricanes starting quarterback Malik Rosier is with us here on Locked On Canes. Malik, Van Dyke, his struggles have been well documented. The Miami Hurricanes starting quarterback, 10 interceptions in his last 4 starts. 3 interceptions thrown last week in the loss to NC State and a fumble lost. And as a result of that, Sunday, Monday media availabilities, Mario Cristobal did not outright endorse Van Dyke. He didn't really give us a clue as to who's he's going to start. I've heard rumblings that all 3 scholarship quarterbacks have been getting first team reps throughout the week in practice. So there's a little bit of a shroud of mystery heading into this one. Who would you go with, Malik? How would you handle that quarterback situation on Saturday?
Yeah, so I think you got to go with Tyler. I think on the road, FSU, top 4 team, really good team at that. You got to go with your vet. To me, in some situations, I think especially for older guys that have been with TVD, that have saw TVD as his quarterback, whenever you do a quarterback change, especially in this important of a game, one, either the kid has shown enough that you and everyone thinks that he can win you the game, or you're basically saying, hey, I'm tanking the season and we're going to focus on our young kids and we're going to focus on next year. And to me, I think there's too many old guys that, sacrificed and came to university for Mario to do that or make the team feel like that. So For me, I would definitely start TVD. But I will say that if for some reason it's really bad, there could be a quarterback change. But I'll also say this for a quarterback in a lot of situations, especially in a rivalry game, you might start off a little slow and then you might start to heat up. I mean, if you go back and look at my year in 2017, if you compare the first half to the second, it looks a little different. Like the first half, we were kind of sluggish. Second half, we kind of picked up, understood what they were doing, and we looked a lot better. So, it's also that aspect. When you're talking about a competitor, the reason why you come to Miami, I think this is why. And then also to be very frank with you, because there's something that I had to deal with personally in 2018. Whenever you're playing and you feel like at any point, any throw could be your last throw in the middle of a game, to me, that's one of the worst, because what it does is it makes you pause for a second. It makes you not want to, be confident in a lot of your throws. So that was some of what Dawson was talking about when he said, we don't want quarterbacks to think that, they're going to get pulled at any point. We don't have their back. I do believe if you start a guy, that should be your guy, at least for the game, or at least especially for the half, but at least for the game where you can say, hey, this is what happened. This is why we're doing it. We gave you every shot. We gave you all 4 quarters to be able to show us, why you're a Miami Hurricane. And so I don't know what they're going to do, but I do know that there is a lot of stuff that mentally plays into games like this, because you're going to have split-second decisions where you're just going to have – it's not even like thinking. It's like almost like a reactionary. And that's one thing that, when you're playing games like this, if your quarterback's thinking about, hey, if I don't put this ball perfect and it's a batted ball or an incompletion or something like that, maybe I get pulled. You can't have a guy play like that. So that's where some of the mental side is going to be interesting to see how – with TVD, if he is a starter, how they have him looking. Does he look comfortable? Does he even look happy? Does he look like he wants to be out there? I feel like that's some of it. I feel like because he's not playing how he wants to play, he's not having fun. He looks like he's almost like mad at himself in some aspects, which I think he should be. But, that's some stuff that we talked about in the past. He said he has to go out there and have fun. I think that's going to be a lot of it, because whenever you're having fun, you're almost playing reactionary, and it helps you a lot more, especially at the quarterback position.
Now, you brought up, valid reasons why it's like it's complicated to bench a quarterback, like especially in a game, and the psychology that goes into that. What if Miami were to not bench him in the game, but use Jacurri Brown situationally, which is something that I don't know if that's going to happen this week, but I do know Brown can play in the rest of the games this season and not burn his red shirt. He wanted a red shirt this year. He's already accomplished that. He cannot play enough games throughout the rest of the year to burn that. So would you be opposed to maybe having a package for Jacurri to mix things up in the red zone and short yardage?
No, I think with some of the struggles that we've had offensively, I think especially in situationals, down in distances and things like that, creating a spark is very smart. I mean, we saw it versus Clemson whenever Brashard Smith was in the backfield at running back. Just him getting back, him getting the ball, it caused a huge spark for our offense. So to me, he is a huge playmaker. I would like to see them do some simple stuff with him. I wouldn't want to see them more in a wildcat. I think they can do some unique formations with him to confuse the defense, but I think there's simple throws like hitches, slants, and even, short fades that if teams zero out on him, it's like, hey, you got a 6'5" Kobe Young, just make sure you put air up on him. If the ball's outside, let him go up and at least give him a chance to go make a play. So I think there's simple routes like that, that, he could still be effective just in case teams zero out or give him, an overloaded look that makes the run play not good. I think there's some simple stuff like that he can do because he is too athletic not to play, and he does give some wrinkles that I think some teams are personally scared of.
As a quarterback who's played at Doak Campbell before and won at Doak, what's it like dealing with that atmosphere and that crowd noise and everything that comes with it?
I would say, one, embrace it. It's going to be loud. They're going to yell on third downs. The biggest thing you can do is, one, embrace it, and secondly, calm everyone else around you. You're going to have young guys that are amped. I've always said this, is that most of the time, at least for me, the teams that I've been on, the teams that have actually won it, have understood that, yes, this is a very important game, but the more I can cut out the emotions, focus on my job, and do my job more than the other team, I'm going to win. Sometimes, you'll have PIs, you'll have late hits, you'll have guys trying to do a little too much because it's the Florida State game. And that's kind of my thing, is if you do your job, and obviously there is going to be a lot of energy, but if you do your job, you're going to be victorious. And so I think a lot of it is that, it's teaching the young guys, saying, hey, do your job, and I promise you I'll get you the ball. Hey, do your job, and you're going to wind up having that tackle or that interception that you want. At least for me, most of the time when I've seen us lose to Florida State, it was a guy trying to make a play. He gets called out of position. And now it's a big run or a big pass or something of those natures. And so that's kind of where I've always been about, obviously prep, do your job. If you want to go study 100 hours of film, I have no problem with that. But on game day, when toe meets ball, it is a football game, and that's what you got to make it about.
This is a rivalry that's more than 3/4 of a century old, and it features so many Florida kids and South Florida kids who played high school ball and even pee-wee ball with each other and against each other. Do you feel in this matchup like kind of a difference in the energy and the intensity?
Yeah, you definitely do. I mean, there was some guys from Florida State that I was watching. I think one of their linebackers, someone on defensive line, on the defensive side, said that he was from Miami, never got recruited by Miami, and how he went to Florida State. So there's definitely guys on their side that hold this personally. I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like most teams that we play, whether it's Louisville, whether it's North Carolina, whether it's Florida State, there's always guys that claim that they were never recruited by us, they want to come to us, and now they're playing above and beyond how they usually play. And to me, I think that's something that these guys, that the Miami culture has to understand, that that's just how it is, especially when you're talking about some of these kids from South Florida. And so I think there's going to be a lot of emotion. You're going to see guys that haven't seen each other in a while. That's like, hey, I remember playing with you. Now I'm playing against you. Or even you're going to have guys that have been rivals their entire lives. Now they're rivals in college. And so to me, I think that's what's very unique, about this rivalry, especially with how much talent comes out of Miami and how basically almost every school recruits the South Florida area.
I love it. We're going to continue with Malik Rosier. We're going to give you our game picks when we come back. I'm hoping Malik's picking Miami because I don't know if you guys are going to like my prediction very much. So I I hope we could balance that out. But what you want to do, my friends, you want to keep it locked right here to Locked On Canes. Guys, I just learned that you can get a 1-year supply on your ED medications. You realize what that means? Being on extended travel. What if, we bring on the next natural disaster or supply chain issue because those keep happening? You're covered in that case, my friends, with the Jace case. You don't have to worry about whether or not you can refill your generics for Cialis, Viagra, or Revatio prescriptions. And this is possible because of our friends at Jace Medical. Go online right now at jacemedical.com to receive your 12-month supply or your daily medication, I should say. Remember to use promo code Locked On at checkout for a discount as well. A verified customer had this to say about Jace. I'm thankful for this service. Supply chain issues caused me to cut pills in half to have it. I ordered most of my daily meds with a year supply. I also ordered the antibiotic kit, which is great. I feel secure now. Prices are lower than local pharmacies. I highly recommend this for everyone. If you or someone you love would get peace of mind by having a year's supply of any daily med, go to jacemedical.com to see if it's offered for you. Remember to use promo code Locked On, all one word, for $20 off your purchase. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen today. Guys, it is Friday. If you missed it, you can get the replay to Locked On College Football Kickoff Live. We had a great show, 11 a.m. to noon, this and every Friday, Locked On College, Locked On College Football Kickoff Live, talking everything, big games, big storylines, the Michigan sanctions, everything that's going on. Locked On College Football Kickoff Live each and every Friday right here on the Locked On College Network. Malik Rosier, former Miami Hurricanes starting quarterback, is with us. So, Malik, 3:30 p.m. Saturday, Miami Hurricanes, 13.5-point underdogs against Florida State. The stakes are high, right? For Mario Cristobal and the Canes, this is an opportunity to, breathe some life back into the season after a tough loss at NC State. Winning a rivalry game is always important. For Florida State, this means keeping their college football playoff hopes very much alive. I guess it wouldn't be impossible for them to get in if they lose this game, but it would be difficult for Florida State to get into the CFP if they don't take care of business and beat Miami. So what is your prediction for Miami at Florida State this Saturday?
To be honest with you, my prediction is 38-35. I think that Andy has to have some big-time kicks. I think special teams and field positioning, I think the punt game and, how we pin them down is going to be big, making them drive 80, 90 yards, not giving them short field. So I got 38-35. I think that we have to score a lot of points because FSU is a team that, has put up 30 plus 40 points on almost every team they played.
Yeah, I'm going to go, I hate to say it, but I'm going 30-16 Florida State.
Ooh.
I hope Miami proves me wrong. Because, again, Miami has to be able to hit plays down the field in the passing game. You can run a little bit on Florida State, but they're very stingy in the red zone. Miami has struggled in the red zone. Florida State, like Malik, you mentioned it, they're really good in the second half. Like they've got a handful of second half shutouts on their resume, so you have to jump out quickly. Miami also has to be able to run the football enough to kind of control the pace of the game, time of possession, take some possessions away from Florida State. But the big thing for me is you've got to win the turnover margin. So it's not impossible for Miami to win this game. It's not. I just think the path to victory makes it more likely than not that Florida State's going to win because of their quarterback and wide receiver play, the difference in the skill positions. I think Miami can compete in the trenches. I think the skill positions is where Florida State has had an advantage over just about everybody they've played this year. I mean, they even beat LSU that's loaded at the skill positions. So I think Miami's got to be probably +2 in the turnover margin to win this game. So it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. Malik's going Miami 38-35. I'm going Florida State 30-16. I hope he's right and I'm wrong. And, Mr. Rosier, before we let you run, my audience needs to know what was going through your brain as you were processing that touchdown pass you threw to Darrell Langham. What did you see on that play, and what did it feel like to complete that?
Yeah, so Florida State really hasn't changed even since I played. It was cover one. You're probably going to see a lot of that. They're going to play a lot of quarters as well, but they're a big man team. And to be honest with you, it was a smart job by the safety. So when I walked up, I was kind of leaning towards Lawrence Cager. He was someone that, obviously made some plays, and it was Darrell Langham's like third or fourth play. And I look up, and the safety shaded all the way to the field. And so obviously in cover one versus 4 verts, my rules were outside lane down to the back. Obviously I knew we were taking a chance, so the back's kind of out of it. It's like, hey, it's outside lane, whether it's left or right. The safety kind of shaded, so I kind of just tried to hold him for a second so that he wouldn't overlap the throw to Darrell. And then for me, there's a philosophy that I tell a lot of my young guys is there's 2 things. One, you got to throw it outside because balls that are thrown inside, especially deep balls, are picked off. And then secondly, as long as it's slightly underthrown, there's nothing wrong with it. So I would rather have a slightly underthrown ball that turns into a back shoulder than a slightly overthrown ball that turns into an incompletion. So that's kind of where, some of the philosophy stuff kind of played in. And that was a lot of what I was thinking for, is high and outside, obviously. That defensive back, I can't remember his name, but all I remember is that we had barely any catches on him until that final catch. But he did a great job of playing the upfield shoulder, and that's really all he gave me was the back shoulder throw. But great adjustment, great job by Darrell Langham. But I remember like walking up and trying to get the crowd all pumped up because I was like, hey, this is our last play. Because Rick was like, hey, this is gonna be one of our last plays. It was like, hey, like give me everything you got. Let's see how loud this place can get rocking before we shut you guys up.
I'm glad it worked out. I really am. He's Malik Rosier. Follow him on X at Malik Rosier 12. Make sure you listen to Malik and I because we're going to be on win, lose, or whatever. We're going to be on after Miami at Florida State on 560 WQAM. Post game is probably going to get underway probably around 6:30, 7 o'clock after the 3:30 game. So Malik, thank you so much for taking the time and enjoy your travels to Tallahassee. And hopefully you have a good game to watch.
Thank you. You too. All right, Donno.
I love it. Great stuff as always by Mr. Rosier. Guys, we will talk to you again next time on another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.